Breaking news. MS Now has just learned that FBI Director Kash Patel may be out of a job in the coming months. 3 people with knowledge of the situation say President Trump and his top aides have grown tired of Patel and the unflattering headlines he's been generating recently, including using a government jet to visit his girlfriend and enlisting a SWAT team as her security detail. Joining us, MS Now Justice and Intelligence reporter Ken Delanian and MS Now White House reporter Laura Barone Lopez. Both of them broke this story along with Carol Leonnig. Ken, give me more.
Well, Katie, I should say, first of all the qualifiers apply here. With Donald Trump and personnel decisions, you never actually know exactly what's going on. But we are being told that Kash Patel, the FBI director, is on increasingly thin ice. And the president is considering replacing him by the end of the year with Andrew Bailey, the former attorney general of Missouri, who is acting now as co-deputy FBI director, along with Dan Bongino. And it's for all the reasons that you just said and others.
What's happening, friends? John here. So this is happening right now. FBI Director Kash Patel faces mounting allegations from members of Congress and former agents that he is hiding Epstein files and purging agents who worked on Trump-related investigations, with lawsuits claiming retaliatory and potentially illegal firings. The accusations suggest Patel is manipulating the Bureau to protect the president and punish those who threaten that protection. Let me tell you about a confrontation that happened during September House hearings that revealed the fundamental dishonesty of Patel's position. Representative Jamie Raskin confronted Patel directly, and what Raskin said was absolutely extraordinary. He told Patel point blank, "You are hiding the Epstein files, Mr. Patel. You are part of the cover-up." That is a sitting member of Congress accusing the FBI director of participating in a cover-up of evidence about a notorious sex trafficking operation that has haunted American politics for years.
The use of taxpayer resources, the flying his girlfriend around on the FBI jet, but also the premature tweets, including related to the Charlie Kirk assassination and other investigations, that terrorist attack in Michigan where Patel got out in front of the investigation and tweeted about the arrest before the rest of the government was ready for that to happen. So Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche of the Justice Department have been annoyed with Patel for a long time, although they've publicly denied it when others have reported it. And now it's increasingly clear that the White House is as well. Now, our reporting this may actually enhance his job security, right? So it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, but that is the reporting at this hour, Katie.
Yeah, no, we have seen situations where when it comes out that somebody is being considered for removal in order to prove that that Donald Trump does not have any chaos on his team or in his cabinet, has come out and said, no, of course not. I'm not considering anything. Let me play the president a little bit earlier today talking about Kash Patel during the Turkey pardon.
Patel's response was to hide behind legalese, claiming he was blocked by sealed court orders, insisting he would not break the law to satisfy congressional curiosity. But here is the problem with that defense that makes it completely fall apart under scrutiny. Legal experts have subsequently pointed out that the court orders Patel cited do not actually cover most of the material Congress is demanding. Grand jury protections and protective orders have specific and limited scope. They do not provide blanket authority to withhold everything. Patel is using legal language to justify suppression that the law does not actually require. He is hiding behind court orders that do not apply, and members of Congress from both parties are calling him out for it. The lawsuits filed against Patel by former FBI agents take the accusations to an entirely different level. According to the complaints, Patel, acting under direction from the Trump White House and Justice Department, fired or pushed out approximately 20 agents who worked investigations involving Trump. That alone would be alarming.
FBI Director Kash Patel has been very busy and doing a great job. Also, thank you, Kash.
Was that scripted? Was that always intended to be there, or was he responding to a question, Laura?
Look, I will say that right before we went out there for that Turkey pardon, I had asked the White House for comment on this story. And so because sources had been telling me, those that were talking to Carol and Ken were also telling us that essentially this ouster could be closer than ever. And part of that is because Andrew Bailey would now be able to take that role after reaching this 90-day requirement for being in that position. And so the White House had responded to me right before this event started. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson, not denying it outright, not calling this false, but she did say that the FBI Director Patel is a critical member of the president's team and that he's working tirelessly to ensure the integrity of the FBI. That's what Abigail Jackson, the White House spokeswoman, said. And then after that, I went out there for the turkey pardon into the Rose Garden. And I thought it was interesting that the president said, thanked him and said that he was doing a, quote, great job. And then there was some clapping and the president said, see, Kash, you have a following. So
the FBI director purging agents based on which cases they worked is a fundamental violation of everything the Bureau is supposed to stand for. But the lawsuits go further and allege something even more damning. They allege that Patel privately acknowledged these firings were retaliatory and potentially illegal. He allegedly admitted in private that what he was doing violated the rules. And then in sworn testimony, he assured Congress that the removals were proper. If the lawsuit allegations are true, Patel committed perjury. He told Congress under oath that the firings were legitimate while privately acknowledging they were retaliatory and illegal. That is not just a policy disagreement. That is potentially criminal conduct by the director of the FBI. The nation's top law enforcement official lying under oath to Congress about politically motivated firings would be an extraordinary scandal of historic proportions.
Was it scripted? That's the timing when it happened. But this appears closer than it's ever been before because, of course, sources close to the White House have told me that they've definitely heard grumblings about Patel for all the reasons that Ken laid out. But this time around, more because of the back-to-back bad headlines about Patel's use of government resources seems to really be pushing those around the president and allies to the edge when it comes to Patel, Katie.
Yeah, what's interesting, Ken, is if we think about the first administration and when cabinet members had been ousted, a lot of them had been accused of mishandling or misusing government funds, misusing government planes, a version of corruption. And I guess this would fall into the same category. If you're talking about the SWAT team and the using the private jet, at the very least, just a misuse or an unseemly use of government property.
Yes, and the SWAT team reference, just to make sure our viewers understand, goes back to our reporting that members of the SWAT team in Nashville.
The pattern that emerges from these accusations paints a picture of systematic obstruction that is almost breathtaking in its scope. Patel hides Epstein files and blames court orders that do not actually apply. Patel fires agents who worked Trump cases and claims the removals were proper, while allegedly admitting privately they were retaliatory. Patel minimizes what the Epstein files contain, claiming they do not implicate others in trafficking, despite having previously suggested the FBI was hiding names because of who is on that list. The contradictions pile up. The explanations do not hold together. The legal justifications collapse under expert scrutiny. And through it all, Patel remains in charge of the FBI, controlling what gets disclosed and who keeps their job, wielding enormous power to protect the president from accountability.
Have been deployed as a security detail for Kash Patel's country singer girlfriend who lives in Nashville. And the New York Times has reported that other SWAT details from other cities have also been enlisted in that cause. What's also interesting, and you're absolutely right, Katie, that those kinds of things, Donald Trump has a track record of looking on with distaste and disdain. But what's also interesting is that Kash Patel is under fire from MAGA activists for things that probably our viewers are not paying attention to. There's a series of conspiracy theories, for example, about the January 6th pipe bombs. That case remains unsolved. A lot of people in the MAGA world have these unfounded beliefs that somehow the government was involved, that the FBI is covering up. And Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have not been as forthcoming as these people would like about that case. So they're mad about that. They were also angry the other day when they essentially leaked a story to Fox News, or did an interview with Fox News, and laid out their findings in the assassination plot against Donald Trump, and essentially said the guy acted alone. There's no larger conspiracy. That runs against a lot of conspiracy theories that are percolating in MAGA world right now, and so it's a really interesting dichotomy. You have every current and former FBI agent I've ever talked to has absolute disdain for the way Kash Patel is running the Bureau, but then you also have the MAGA right that's not happy with Kash Patel.
And Laura, who's Andrew Bailey? Give us a little bit more on him.
Conservative Representative Thomas Massie, the Republican who co-authored the Epstein Files Transparency Act, has publicly accused Patel of troubling deflection for hiding behind legal ease instead of simply complying with the law. When a Republican member of Congress who wrote the transparency statute accuses the FBI director of deflecting rather than complying, that tells you the problems are not partisan. Massie wanted transparency. He wrote a law to achieve it, and he is watching Patel obstruct that transparency while claiming legal barriers that do not actually exist. The bipartisan nature of the criticism demonstrates that Patel's conduct is indefensible across the political spectrum. Raskin from the left and Massie from the right, both accusing the same person of the same kind of obstruction. He is not being attacked because of his politics. He is being attacked because he is hiding files and punishing agents and lying about why. The Forbes report on Patel's testimony captured a telling contradiction in his statements that really reveals everything about his approach. During the hearing, Patel claimed the Epstein files do not implicate others in the trafficking scheme, suggesting there is nothing particularly damaging in the unreleased material. He insisted the FBI is acting transparently. But Democrats pointed out that Patel had previously suggested the FBI was hiding names because of who was on that list. The earlier statement implied the files contained explosive information about powerful people. The later statement claimed the files contained nothing significant. Both statements cannot be true. Either Patel was exaggerating earlier about what the files contain, or he's minimizing now to reduce pressure for disclosure. The contradiction suggests he says whatever is convenient in the moment, rather than telling the truth consistently. That is not how an honest FBI director behaves. That is how someone behaves when they have something to hide. Let me really dig into what Kash Patel is being accused of and why these allegations are so serious for understanding how the Trump administration is handling accountability and transparency. The Epstein files situation is the most visible controversy, but it connects to broader patterns of obstruction and retaliation that define Patel's tenure as FBI director. Start with what happened in the September House hearings, because that confrontation between Raskin and Patel revealed the fundamental dishonesty of Patel's position. Raskin told Patel directly that he was hiding the Epstein files and participating in a cover-up. Patel responded by citing sealed court orders and grand jury protections, claiming he could not disclose material that courts had ordered sealed. This sounds reasonable on its face. Courts do seal material for legitimate reasons. Grand jury secrecy is a real legal principle. But legal experts who reviewed Patel's claims concluded that the court orders he cited do not actually cover most of the material Congress is demanding under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The statute Congress passed was specifically designed to override normal disclosure barriers. It required release of nearly all investigative materials. It prohibited withholding documents merely to avoid embarrassment or political sensitivity. Patel is claiming legal barriers that the transparency law was designed to eliminate, and experts say he is wrong about what the remaining barriers actually cover. The lawsuits from former FBI agents deserve detailed examination because they allege conduct that would be criminal if proven. According to the complaints, Patel fired or forced out approximately 20 agents who worked on investigations involving Trump. These were not random personnel decisions. These were targeted removals of agents based on which cases they handled. The agents worked sensitive investigations, the kinds of investigations that could produce information damaging to the president. And they were removed from the FBI by a director who's personally loyal to that president. The appearance of retaliation is overwhelming. You cannot fire 20 agents who all happen to work Trump cases and claim coincidence. The pattern speaks for itself. But the lawsuits go beyond alleging the pattern. They allege that Patel himself acknowledged the impropriety of what he was doing. According to the complaints, Patel privately admitted that the firings were retaliatory and potentially illegal. He allegedly said things in private that directly contradict what he told Congress under oath. If these allegations are true, Patel committed perjury when he assured Congress the removals were proper. Perjury by the FBI director would be an extraordinary scandal. The nation's top law enforcement official lying under oath to Congress about politically motivated firings. The lawsuits will proceed through the courts. Discovery will reveal what evidence supports the allegations, but the mere filing of these complaints by former FBI agents with direct knowledge raises serious questions about Patel's honesty and fitness for office. The lawsuit brought by agents who were terminated for kneeling during protests illustrates another dimension of Patel's alleged retaliation. These agents, photographed taking a knee during the George Floyd protests, were fired under Patel's direction. The lawsuit claims Patel ordered their termination as a political loyalty signal, demonstrating to Trump that he would punish agents who engaged in conduct the president found objectionable. The plaintiffs argue this violated FBI protocols and their First Amendment rights. Taking a knee during a protest is protected expression. Firing federal employees for protected expression violates constitutional principles. And framing the terminations as performance or discipline issues when the real reason was political constitutes fraud. The characterization of the FBI under Patel as a rudderless ship and all messed up comes from internal and media critiques citing current and former agents. These are not outside critics speculating about what is happening inside the Bureau. These are people with direct knowledge describing an institution in crisis. The reports slam Patel for politicizing the Bureau, using it as a tool for Trump's political agenda rather than as an independent law enforcement agency. They accuse him of taking credit for other agencies' work on Epstein, claiming FBI accomplishments that actually belong to other parts of the government. They describe him ignoring FBI traditions while rolling back internal safeguards that protect against politicization. The picture that emerges is of an FBI director who views his job as serving the president rather than serving the law. Patel's history as Trump's go-to fixer on document issues provides essential context for understanding his current role and why he is so uniquely positioned to carry out this kind of obstruction. This is not someone who stumbled into controversy over the Epstein files. This is someone with a long track record of helping Trump manage sensitive documents. Patel had access to Trump's presidential records. He provided immunity-backed grand jury testimony in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents probe. He has publicly claimed that Trump declassified everything, a claim that legal experts have disputed. He has been at the center of Trump's document fights throughout, the person who shows up whenever incriminating files need to be located or contained. His current role, hiding Epstein files, fits a pattern that extends across years of service to Trump's document management needs. The NBC and NPR reporting on the Epstein files fight emphasizes that it took an act of Congress to force Patel, Attorney General Bondi, and others to move on the releases at all. Without statutory compulsion, without the Epstein Files Transparency Act creating legal requirements, the administration was not going to disclose anything voluntarily. Even with the statute in place, Patel keeps citing court orders for redactions, even as lawmakers and experts insist more documents could be released immediately. He is doing the minimum the law arguably requires, and arguably not even that, while claiming maximum legal barriers at every step. The obstruction is systematic rather than incidental. It reflects a deliberate strategy of disclosure resistance rather than good faith compliance. The conservative criticism from Massey carries particular weight because it demonstrates the bipartisan nature of concerns about Patel's conduct. Massey is not a Democrat looking for reasons to attack the Trump administration. He is a libertarian-leaning Republican who wrote the transparency law specifically because he wanted disclosure about Epstein. When he accuses Patel of troubling deflection, of hiding behind legal ease instead of complying, that is the law's author saying the FBI director is thwarting legislative intent. Massey knows what the law was supposed to accomplish. He is watching Patel prevent that accomplishment, and he is calling out the obstruction publicly, despite being a member of Trump's party. The implications for FBI morale and institutional integrity extend beyond the specific controversies to the Bureau's fundamental mission. The FBI depends on agents believing they can investigate without fear of political retaliation. If agents think that working certain cases will get them fired, they will avoid those cases or pull punches in their investigations. The message Patel's firings send is clear. If you investigate Trump or his allies, you risk your career. That message corrupts the investigative function. It creates incentives for agents to protect powerful people rather than pursue accountability. It transforms the FBI from an independent law enforcement agency into a tool for political protection. The contrast between what Patel says publicly and what he allegedly says privately goes to the heart of his credibility and the fundamental dishonesty of his position. Publicly, he claims the Epstein files contain nothing significant and the FBI is acting transparently. Privately, he allegedly acknowledges retaliation and illegality. Publicly, he claims firings were proper performance decisions. Privately, according to lawsuits, he admitted they were retaliatory. The gap between public statements and alleged private admissions suggests a person who lies strategically, saying whatever is convenient to the audience at hand. An FBI director who lies strategically cannot be trusted on anything. Every statement must be viewed with suspicion. Every claim requires independent verification. The credibility deficit Patel has created extends to everything he says about any topic. The broader pattern of obstruction across the Trump administration provides context for understanding Patel's specific role. The DOJ missed Epstein file deadlines. The DOJ released heavily redacted documents. The DOJ removed photographs and had to restore them under pressure. Attorney General Bondi faces impeachment threats. Deputy Attorney General Blanche is defending conduct that lawmakers call lawless. Patel fits into this pattern as the person controlling what the FBI contributes to the obstruction. He is not acting alone. He is part of a coordinated effort to minimize disclosure and protect the president. Understanding his role requires seeing him as one piece of a larger machine designed to obstruct accountability. The lawsuit allegations that Patel privately admitted the firings were retaliatory and potentially illegal represent the most serious legal exposure he faces. If those allegations are proven, if discovery reveals communications or testimony supporting the claims, Patel potentially committed perjury when he assured Congress the removals were proper. Perjury by the FBI director would be grounds for impeachment and criminal prosecution. It would demonstrate that the nation's top law enforcement official lies under oath when convenient. It would validate every concern about politicization and corruption that critics have raised. The lawsuits will proceed through courts, evidence will be produced, testimony will be taken. The allegations will be tested against the factual record. But the mere existence of these claims filed by former agents with direct knowledge creates a cloud over Patel's tenure that will not dissipate regardless of how the case is resolved. The institutional damage to the FBI from Patel's tenure may outlast his time in office. Agents who saw colleagues fired for working Trump cases will be more cautious about taking on sensitive investigations. Agents who watch Patel allegedly retaliate against those who exercise First Amendment rights will be more reluctant to express themselves. Agents who observe the director hiding files and lying about it will question whether integrity matters in the Bureau's leadership. These effects persist even after Patel leaves. The culture of an institution takes years to build and can be damaged quickly. Patel is damaging FBI culture with every retaliatory firing and every dishonest statement. Rebuilding that culture will require future leadership committed to independence and integrity, leadership that may not arrive until political conditions change. The political implications for Trump extend beyond Patel personally to questions about what the administration is hiding and why. If Patel is obstructing Epstein file disclosure, what do those files contain that is worth the political cost of obstruction? If Patel is firing agents who work Trump cases, what did those investigations find that required removing the agents who know about it? The obstruction itself becomes evidence. It suggests there is something worth hiding. It invites speculation about what the hidden material reveals. The administration would face less damaging speculation if it simply released the files and accepted whatever temporary embarrassment resulted. The persistence of obstruction, despite political cost, suggests the hidden material is more damaging than the obstruction narrative. What are they protecting that is worse than being called cover-up artists? The bipartisan nature of criticism creates political problems the administration cannot solve through partisan warfare. When Massey joins Raskin in questioning Patel's conduct, When Republicans and Democrats unite in demanding transparency, the usual playbook of dismissing criticism as partisan overreach does not work. Patel cannot claim he is being persecuted by Democrats when Republicans who wrote the transparency law are accusing him of thwarting it. The coalition demanding accountability crosses party lines because the conduct being criticized violates principles that both parties, at least in principle, support: transparency, integrity, non-retaliation against whistleblowers and investigators. Rule of law. These are supposed to be shared values. Patel's alleged violations of them generate shared criticism. Patel's current obstruction of Epstein files fits his long-established role as Trump's document fixer, from the Mar-a-Lago case to claims of mass declassification. Now as FBI director, he controls what's produced and who's fired, destroying the Bureau's credibility through contradictions, alleged perjury, and a pattern of serving Trump's interests over transparency. The survivors of Epstein's crimes are once again betrayed by officials who prioritize protection over accountability. They were promised transparency. They were promised that the Epstein Files Transparency Act would force disclosure. And now they watch the FBI director cite court orders that do not apply, minimize what the files contain, hide behind legalese, while experts say the law requires more disclosure. Patel is not serving survivors. He is obstructing their pursuit of truth. He is protecting whatever powerful people are documented in the files that remain hidden. The moral dimension of his obstruction deserves emphasis. These are not abstract policy disputes. These are decisions about whether survivors of sex trafficking get answers about what happened to them. Patel has chosen to deny them those answers while claiming legal constraints that do not actually exist. The question of what happens next depends on whether investigations and lawsuits validate the allegations against Patel. Congressional investigations will continue demanding documents and testimony. The lawsuits from fired agents will proceed through discovery and potentially trial. Courts will rule on whether the Epstein file withholding violates the transparency statute. Each proceeding creates opportunities for evidence to emerge. Evidence that could prove or disprove the allegations. If the evidence supports the claims, if Patel is shown to have lied under oath, if the firings are proven retaliatory, the consequences could include impeachment and criminal charges. If the evidence does not support the claims, Patel survives but remains damaged by the accusations. Either way, the cloud over his tenure persists. The political implications of the Patel controversy connect to the broader Epstein files scandal and will have consequences that reach far beyond Patel himself. Every Republican candidate will face questions about the administration's handling of transparency. They will be asked about Patel's alleged lies and retaliation. They will be asked why the FBI director is hiding files that a law Trump signed requires to be released. Defending Patel means defending conduct that bipartisan critics have condemned. Distancing from Patel means breaking with an administration that appointed him. Neither option is attractive. The political trap the Epstein scandal created extends to everyone associated with the administration's obstruction, and Patel is at the center of that obstruction. The pattern of corruption that emerges from the accumulated allegations is comprehensive and damning. Patel hides files, Patel fires investigators, Patel lies about why he does both, Patel claims legal barriers that do not exist. Patel contradicts himself about what hidden material contains. Patel allegedly admits privately what he denies publicly. Every element of his conduct points in the same direction. Systematic obstruction of accountability designed to protect the president. This is not inadvertent. This is not bureaucratic confusion. This is deliberate use of FBI power to serve political interests. And it is exactly what critics warned would happen when Trump appointed a loyalist to run the Bureau. The 2026 midterm implications of the Patel controversy connect to the broader Epstein files scandal. Every Republican candidate will face questions about the administration's handling of transparency. They will be asked about Patel's alleged lies and retaliation. They will be asked why the FBI director is hiding files that a law Trump signed requires to be released. Defending Patel means defending conduct that bipartisan critics have condemned. Distancing from Patel means breaking with an administration that appointed him. Neither option is attractive. The political trap the Epstein scandal created extends to everyone associated with the administration's obstruction, and Patel is at the center of that obstruction. The pattern of corruption that emerges from the accumulated allegations is comprehensive. Patel hides files. Patel fires investigators. Patel lies about why he does both. Patel claims legal barriers that do not exist. Patel contradicts himself about what hidden material contains. Patel allegedly admits privately what he denies publicly. Every element of his conduct points in the same direction. Systematic obstruction of accountability designed to protect the president. Let me bring this all together and talk about what the accusations against Kash Patel mean for the FBI, for the Epstein files controversy, for accountability under the Trump administration, and for the broader questions of law enforcement integrity that his conduct raises. The facts as alleged are absolutely damning. Patel is accused by members of Congress of hiding Epstein files and being part of a cover-up. He is accused by former agents of firing them in retaliation for working Trump cases, while privately admitting the firings were potentially illegal. He is accused of hiding behind court orders that legal experts say do not actually prevent the disclosures Congress demands. He is accused of contradicting his own previous statements about what the files contain, and he is accused of politicizing the FBI in ways that undermine its institutional integrity and investigative independence. The lawsuit allegations that Patel privately admitted the firings were retaliatory and potentially illegal represent the most serious legal exposure he faces. If those allegations are proven, if discovery reveals communications or testimony supporting the claims, Patel potentially committed perjury when he assured Congress the removals were proper. Perjury by the FBI director would be grounds for impeachment and criminal prosecution. It would demonstrate that the nation's top law enforcement official lies under oath when convenient. It would validate every concern about politicization and corruption that critics have raised. The Epstein files obstruction that Raskin called out during the September hearings continues to define Patel's public profile. He claimed he could not release files because of court orders. Experts said the court orders do not cover most of what Congress demands. He claimed the files do not implicate others in trafficking. His own previous statements suggested the files contain explosive information about powerful people. The contradictions and deflections add up to a portrait of someone who will say whatever is necessary to avoid disclosure, not someone engaged in good faith compliance with legal requirements. When the author of the transparency law accuses you of troubling deflection, when members of both parties question your honesty, your credibility as FBI director is fundamentally compromised. The institutional damage to the FBI from Patel's tenure may outlast his time in office. Agents who saw colleagues fired for working Trump cases will be more cautious about taking on sensitive investigations. Agents who watch Patel allegedly retaliate against those who exercise First Amendment rights will be more reluctant to express themselves. Agents who observe the director hiding files and lying about it will question whether integrity matters in the Bureau's leadership. These effects persist even after Patel leaves. The connection between Patel's current conduct and his history as Trump's document fixer illuminates the continuity in his role. He has been managing Trump's document problems for years. He provided testimony in the Mar-a-Lago case. He has claimed Trump declassified everything. He has been the go-to person when sensitive files need to be handled in ways that serve Trump's interests. His current obstruction of Epstein files fits this pattern perfectly. He is not suddenly being asked to do something outside his experience. He is doing what he has always done, helping Trump manage document problems. The FBI director position just gives him more power to do it. He controls what the Bureau produces. He controls which agents keep their jobs. He has leveraged that control to serve Trump's interests just as he leveraged previous positions. The credibility crisis Patel has created extends to everything the FBI says under his leadership. When the director lies about why agents were fired, how can anyone trust FBI statements about investigations? When the director hides files while claiming legal barriers that do not exist, how can anyone trust FBI claims about what it can and cannot disclose? When the director contradicts himself about what files contain, how can anyone trust FBI characterizations of evidence? The FBI's credibility depends on the credibility of its leadership. Patel has destroyed his own credibility through contradictions and alleged perjury. That destruction reflects on the institution he leads. The FBI under Patel cannot be trusted because Patel cannot be trusted. FBI Director Kash Patel faces accusations from lawmakers, former agents, and legal experts that he is hiding Epstein files and purging agents who worked Trump investigations, citing court orders that don't apply, minimizing contents, and contradicting his own testimony. Survivors are being betrayed as Patel obstructs transparency, while lawsuits alleging retaliatory and illegal firings move forward, threatening to expose a deliberate pattern of protection over accountability.